This is another question that we've heard from several people. I'm going to read one question for everyone. People taking you to task. This was sent in the Corny.
What after? Now, already you had pissed me off this morning, and now all these people are going to blister me on the program.
I think the people need an answer to this. I was surprised to read about this, and we'll see what you say. This was sent in on Twitter using the hashtag CornyDriveThru from Terry Sabala. I noticed in this past week's episode of NWA Power, in the Dawsons versus Storm and Drake match, an obscene amount of arm and backslap tags, and Jim never said anything. Is this something that will be addressed moving forward? And if not, will Jim call it out on commentary?
No, this is something that's going to be addressed before the shows are taped this time in the locker room. And then if I see it again, then it will be mentioned. It will be mentioned.
Was it driving you crazy? A lot. Sitting there watching it?
Yeah, you know, you try at the time that you were trying to, the announcers are supposed to be trying to help the talent have a good match. And I enjoyed announcing more before I also got into booking and producing and et cetera, because then not only am I trying to announce, but I'm trying to announce the match that they're sometimes supposed to be having or the things that they're supposed to be doing instead of what is happening. And I don't mean like I've got a goddamn lineup note by note, move for move, like I'm reading this. I know by visually watching, how else do you watch but visually, this match, what they're supposed to be doing. And I know when they're not doing it right. And it fucking drives me crazy. And sometimes you will hear me kind of just lay out for a second because I'm trying to fucking calm myself back down. But in OVW, where I was the play-by-play announcer and also the booker and also part owner of the territory, especially on promos, if somebody was going really south really fast or doing something really bad, my pen that I always have in my hand, I was about 20 feet from the ring, and that pen would fly right past their fucking face. Bolin almost got it 4 or 5 times. And that was their cue to either get back on track or get the fuck out of the ring. And I had to throw it at a couple matches also. But normally we try to help. But yes, it will be addressed beforehand, and then it will be addressed on tape.
That would have been so much of a better way for you to get in trouble with the office. Instead of slapping Santino, he stabbed the wrestler with a pen. It flew across the ring and it went right into the wrestler's thigh in the middle of the match. That would have been memorable. That would have been great.
And that's kind of a correlation, that whole thing, to what I'm announcing, and I know what they need to be doing rather than what they are doing. That's a correlation to the thing where, like with Seth Rollins also, everybody else is seeing what they're doing with him. I'm seeing what I could do with him. That's about everybody I talk about. Sometimes what they're doing, if it sucks, is not their fault. I'm looking at the talent and the potential and what they could do themselves, not what they're being told to do in some cases by other people.
So why do you think the backslap is so ubiquitous? Why do you think, like, the Dawsons, a team that is wrestling on this NWA show, they're doing it, they're doing it in the WWE, they're doing it in AEW, they're doing it everywhere. Why is it industry-wide right now?
2, 3, 5. I can tell you in 4 words. As seen on TV. Rip Rogers used to say this all the time in classes or seminars, training sessions, whatever. As seen, you're doing shit just because you've seen it on television. That doesn't mean that it's right. It means that other stupid people are being let get away with it. And if you can't be bothered to know enough about wrestling to know the rules of tag team wrestling before you become a professional wrestler, and you don't know them once you have become a professional wrestler, you were not really motivated well enough to become a wrestler to begin with, and you didn't go to a training school that would actually fucking train you. I don't understand why this is even a goddamn issue. If you don't know the rules of the wrestling business, not just tag team matches, but everything, before you become do you know the rules of basketball before you're playing in the fucking NBA? So I have given some guys a pass because I say, well, nobody ever told them. But I've seen people that I've actually told how to make a hot tag or how to make a blind tag or whatever, and they still do their shit because that's seen on TV. They're doing it on TV, and I want to be on TV, so I'll do it too. or just take a shortcut, or it just doesn't matter, or whatever the fuck, because nobody takes this seriously anymore anyway. But, as seen on TV was like one time, there was a guy that worked in the office in Stamford named Bob Clark. And he had worked for the TV studio for years as a production assistant. And he was a nice guy, big old, like 6'2" or 3" and 250 pounds, big old jowly face, gregarious looking fellow, big old basset hound looking expression. And all of a sudden, somehow, they switched him from working in the TV studio to working in talent relations around the 2000-ish or so. Around the time I was here in OVW, we were still in the original building over in Indiana. And he started coming down as an emissary of the, office for the developmental program. And Bob was a great guy. But because he had been a production assistant in the studio, and that was his only experience in wrestling, he knew dick all of nothing of how to talk to wrestlers or how wrestling was trained or how wrestling matches were done or whatever. He was a TV studio guy, and he was very good, very nice. But he began getting heat on himself repeatedly because of the stupid things he would say to the boys and or us. He started, at one point, he actually started telling Danny Davis how he wanted classes to go, until Danny had to remind him that he'd never even fucking put on a pair of trunks and he needed to just calm down and take notes. But what finally happened was Bob comes and he has a meeting with the talent. By the way, I don't think he told Danny he was going to have it either. I think he called his own meeting, so that could have contributed to his doom also. But he said, raise your hand. Who here wants to be Kai and Tai? Remember Kai and Tai?
Yes,
Taka Michinoku and Dick Togo and the Japanese guys. What he was trying to tell the guys was, who wants to be preliminary guys? You should all want to be the main event guys, the champion, whatever. Nobody wants to be the opening match guys. But what he didn't realize was he's in front of a bunch of guys that are training, making $300. The best wrestlers were making $300 a week, like the Bashams and Dinsmore, and then the goofs that they signed from WCW with 2 left feet, or the bodybuilders from scratch, were making like $500 or $600, $750. But they are not on television except in Louisville. They want to be on TV. So immediately when he says who wants to be Kai and Tai, everybody raised their hand because nobody got it. They didn't know what he was trying to say. So then he critiqued. I'm trying to remember who it was. He started critiquing everybody's matches and everybody's promos and the way everybody did everything. And let's just say that they all came to Danny, and one guy wanted to quit the business. One guy wanted to beat the fuck out of Bob Clark. One guy was apologizing, even though he was one of our better talents, that he would try to do better. And one guy wanted to take Bob's advice to heart and completely do everything he was doing different, which would have completely fucked him up. So we had to sit Bob Clark down and say, Bob, I've known you for a while. We like you. You're a nice guy. But here are the reasons why you're never coming back to Ohio Valley Wrestling. And then we told him to go home, and they never sent him back. And I know everybody, how did you get here from the backslap tags? A lot of people have gotten into wrestling in positions of authority that are allowed to tell guys what to do in the ring that don't have a fucking clue what to do in the ring. And a lot of these things are the result of it. And it comes, all the sloppiness and slapdashedness and unprofessionalism, and in some cases, dropping people on their heads because they don't know any better than to try shit they shouldn't be trying, comes from not having legitimate wrestling school training facilities that teach pro wrestling and old-fashioned pro wrestling and take it seriously. And there are rules to this shit, and here's how you do it, and here's what you don't do, and here's how you respect the business, and here's how you talk about it in public, and here's how you conduct yourself, and blah, blah, blah. And make it fucking serious, and make it meaningful, and fine people if they fuck up, or boot people out of the building if they don't fit in, or make them work for it to get into the goddamn thing to begin with, instead of just saying, hey, you're going to be a wrestler? I can pay you to learn. All of that has contributed to where the fuck we are now. where people that should know things that everybody should know don't know any of these things. And there you have it.